Hold on.
Wait, Daddy. So
Yeah.
are we gonna talk about what are you gonna talk
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about some stuff, but why don't you start with telling everybody, what did we do yesterday? Hey, everybody, this is Brian. Sorry, let's do a quick introductions. Hey, this is Brian and my daughters. They're back after a few weeks off. They wanted to tell you about what we did this weekend. What did we do yesterday?
Daddy, I don't
Okay, you can leave. Yeah, why don't you tell everybody what we did this weekend?
wait.
What did we do yesterday with our friend Marcos?
With my friend Marcus, we went to the Skokie Lagoon.
That's right. We hiked around the Skokie Lagoons. We totally disconnected from our phones and just hiked around, built some kind of forts out of dead wood that we found lying on the ground. Yeah? And what did we do today, Natalie? Where did we go? Did we go on a bike ride? Yeah.
By the
We
ridge.
went on a local community event called Bike the Ridge.
By the ridge.
And we biked up and down a major street that they shut down here in Evanston. And it was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
I went the whole entire way.
Yeah, you did.
Me too. It was so far. Natalie, you didn't go the whole entire way. But
She did.
No, she didn't go
Oh,
over
the
an hour.
south. Yeah, right. Okay.
She did the north side, but not the south.
Yeah.
I did both sides.
Cool.
So I did like the whole thing.
Yeah.
It might go all the way to the end. Well, she went to the
One
end.
end, yes. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, can we do it? He did my foot.
That's not your foot. That's your hand. They know that. Okay. Do you want to stay while I finish up, or do you want to?
Go together.
Okay. So as you can tell, we had a pretty eventful weekend. Disconnected, got off the grid, so to speak, and okay, bye. And it was great. And it was fun. It was relaxing. And another thing that I did after they went to bed last night, there's a show on Netflix called High Score, and it's all about kind of the rise of gaming culture online, not online games per se, but Nintendo, Atari, electronic gaming, which is such a critical part of my childhood. I have so many memories playing, with the joystick, with the Atari, and when I turned 5, I got a Nintendo with Super Mario Brothers. And so I saw this show about all of this, and um, it was fascinating, right? This moment in the woods, hiking with my daughters, and then kind of reliving the nostalgic childhood of the rise of electronic gaming. And that got me thinking about just how far technology has come, right? And in the time of this pandemic, when we're using technology every day, right? And for many of us in our childhood, we were told like, you could only have so much screen time, you can only sit so close to the TV, and yet here we are constantly on our phones, constantly talking on Zoom for work. Many of us, screens are everywhere. We're constantly looking at screens. And as fathers, I'm sure many of us are constantly thinking in the back of our head, how are we keeping screen time at a minimum to our children, for our children, when in reality, many of us, our daughters or sons are remote learning constantly and on screens throughout the entire day. And for me, it's a challenge. It's something that on a certain level I've come to just accept, and then on another level, I'm challenging to push against that. So, like this weekend, we went for a hike in the Skokie Lagoons here in the Evanston area, and almost every weekend we're trying to get out and go to forest preserves and kind of escape because we're so close to each other Monday through Friday, right? One daughter is constantly on remote learning. Sometimes she's just right across the room from me. And my other daughter is part of the day she's in preschool. For most of the day she's around. And so on rough weeks, we get really nitpicky with each other. We kind of get on each other's nerves. We kind of argue over the simplest things. And so getting away for a little bit of time is so critical and life giving to our family. And so reflection piece though is what I got to thinking about is how much this technology and this pandemic has made that work-life balance for us fathers um, a big question, right? When if we go to professional conferences or we're doing professional development, they often talk about that work-life balance. How are you maintaining your work self and your home self? What are those boundaries? What are the things that you do to not bring home the work, mentally, so you can show up to your families? And I don't know about you, but my commute used to be an hour on a train from my house into the city, one way, and then back out in the evening. And I'd have that time to kind of separate. I could read a book, I could listen to a podcast. Now, though, my commute is basically 30 feet from my kitchen into my basement, where I have kind of created this home office in the spare bedroom where I share it with a bed, with books, with storage units behind me. And I'm sure many of us are in similar situations to this. And remote working was not something that was our our ambition or where we saw ourselves. So it's been a hectic weekend. It's been a hectic life. It's been a hectic 6 months for all of us. And technology has been both a boon and a life saving resource, but it's also been something that has kind of brought that work life balance into question. And so, for all of you, my question is how are you maintaining that separation? How are you able to check work at the door, so to speak, and or quite literally as you close the door to the office, quote unquote office, spare bedroom, what have you, and enter the rest of the house, the rest of your life with your kids, and maintaining a sense of presence as a father rather than being drawn back into work or going back and catching that email that you didn't do, but you just remembered, right? As fathers, we need to be present to our kids. We need to be um, everything that they can be, or we need to be everything that they need us to be, whether we like it or not sometimes. And so finding those strategies to separate ourselves is critical. So if you've got some, please share them in the comments. Would love to hear what you're doing to maintain that balance so that you can show up to your children. And separate from that, we've got a lot of things coming up that can help. We've got dad chats, which I've talked about a few times. All are welcome to dad chats if you identify as a father. We're going to be kicking them off October 1st, and there'll be weekly Zoom calls for dads to step in, to connect, share stories, get resources, what have you, throughout the month of October and November. And there's a link in the comments to sign up, learn more about what nights and what times we're offering them. In October, we're also kicking off a gender equity group called Dads for Gender Equity. Talked about that last week with Joe Samlin, who's helping us with the curriculum. I'm really excited for that. We've got a lot of great ideas to help us become advocates for our children. And last but not least, if you are not yet members of our Dads in Recovery or Legal and Custody groups, but could use that support system, I highly recommend joining them. Throughout the next few weeks, months, we'll be doing a number of panel conversations, bringing in some experts, sharing stories with members about how they are navigating co-parenting, how they're navigating their addictions and the recovery that comes with that. So lots going on. Appreciate all of you for being a member, being involved, and supporting all the work that we do. And I appreciate any donations that you can send our way as a 501c3 as well. Appreciate y'all. Great night, and we will see you. Peace.